would you look at that? More Space Marines. What more could any of us ask for? But more Space Marines. Don't you all just love Space Marines? Aren't they just so inspiring? So manly, so masculine. Any child should hope to grow up to be like a Space Marine. The perfect role models. It's no wonder players can only seem to play Space Marines and nothing else. I've got about 4 other replays saved that are, you know, decent length games between decently skilled players. The Space Marines in every single one of them. Oh my god, I can't wait for 2.9.3 to come out so we can finally start seeing something other than Space Marines, because you all know it's going to be happening in 2.9.3. It's just going to be a spam of Grey Knights instead. I mean, are Grey Knights technically Space Marines? I'm not sure. I guess they are really, aren't they? They're an elite chapter of Space Marines. Something like that. Anyhow, onto the game, I guess. We got a different map at least. That's something. It's Outer Reaches, which I'd say is probably a map that favours Space Marines. Because it's very difficult on this map to get a triple cap. The distance from this contested VP down to your bases is quite long, so if you commit to trying to capture the contested, that's already quite a big commitment in and of itself. Never mind if you then have to push further to get the natural. And the distance from the natural to the base, as you can see, it's not very far. I can technically get it on one screen. The base is just there. So it's very easy to defend your natural, which means triple caps against the opponent are very, very difficult on this map. So even if you're really far ahead at some point in the game, it's very difficult to close it out. And that benefits races that are going to get to tier 3 and perform better in the tier 3 late game a lot more than it does those who are better in the early game. So purely on the basis of the map, I would have to say I assume that Ricemuncher would take this. Because of course the Space Marine tier 3 is absolutely brutal, whereas the Tyranid 1 isn't. The Tyranid 1 is fine if you can start spamming things like the Swarm Mod and multiple Carnifexes, but that generally only happens in free-for-alls. But you never know, in this map it could get that deep. We shall have to see. But Tyranids of course are renowned for their early game pressure. They're definitely exerting a lot of that right now. Force Commander is a good hero to try and mitigate that. Seem to get a weird double knockback there with the Shotgun Blast. I'm not sure exactly how that happens. You aim it at a specific squad, but it just sort of knocks everything back in an area. And I mean, it's not... Obviously, it's going to knock back a squad if they're on top of another squad you aimed it at. But I'm saying there's a squad in this crater and there's a squad over here, and you aim at this one, it knocks them both back. I don't know why that happens. Ooh, is the Ravener going to fall? Yes, he is. That was pretty sloppy, Alotar. And we see Alotar again. I remember how I said I didn't know him. I mean, I still don't know him too well, to be fair. I don't think I've ever spoke to the player. I don't think I've ever even played with him in game, to be honest. But apparently he's decent. Apparently he plays a lot, so that's the thing. And he's here again, playing against Ricemuncher, who is the source of a lot of my replays at the moment. He's probably the most active of the high-level 1v1ers at the moment. I just wish he didn't play Space Marines, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm just sick of seeing Space Marines. But yeah, Tyranids are exerting a lot of pressure right now. The tunnels of the Ravener are going to help quite a lot on this map. As I say, distance from up here to the base is quite large, so the Termagants have just hopped right in the tunnel, and they're back out into the action, doing some gem mash in the corner. Do we see any upgrades? We do. We see the Crippling Talon. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So 55 melee DPS, that's decent. And it actually attacks quite slowly, which is generally a good thing. It does mean your rate of getting specials is lower, but it also means it's easy to fleet models, especially when the enemy are kiting from you. You can see the huge chunks of damage that come out from this weapon every time it takes a strike. I seem to miss there. Oh, it's because he went for a special. Let's see if he can get a retreat model. Another hit on that guy might do it. Nope, one more. There we go. That's nice. Killing marine models is always good. And tactical marines are trying to force off the Termagants. I don't know Is that... Okay, no, they're not building, so only one generator was bashed. Ooh, a drop pod into more tacticals. Very interesting, quite powerful. Oh, Hormigot's coming out of the tunnel there, ambushing these tactical marines, really showcasing the power of the tunnel once again. If that tunnel wasn't there, that'd have been a forced off Termagant squad. Tactical marines could potentially have stayed on the field, soft retreated away from the Hormigots rather than having to do a full retreat. Alotar needs to be careful. He's letting his Ravener get quite low. Remember, he has already lost them once, but wow, look at the difference in the economy. Jeez, that's huge. Alotar already going tier 2. Only on 2 generators as well. That's very Tyrannid if I do say so myself. So he's chosen to go for the Warriors, which are a very cheap option, but they're very good against things like tactical marines. They're heavy infantry armor, resisting the piercing of attacks, and they're naturally high HP. Makes them pretty good. They're only 325, so cheaper in power expenditure than even a setup team. A little bit more on the requisition, but you don't mind that as a Tyrannid because your triple gaunts that you start with, they're only 8 pop when they're full in models. That totals 24, which means you're not even paying any upkeep by default when you've got your free gaunt squads out. Which in turn means you end up having a hell of a lot of requisition. Look at the difference in the population at the moment. 57 for Ricemuncher, whereas it's 37 for Alotar. And if we look at the map control, so 2 requisition points for Rice, 3 for Alotar, but that's not fully matured, that's not fully matured. Oh, even his natural isn't fully matured. Rice must have got that with the scouts at some point. Pretty sloppy play with the Hormigons there. Not retreating anywhere near soon enough, taking loads of unnecessary damage, but it does look like they're going to escape without being wiped. That's always a good thing. Not going to get the kill on any of the Warrior Brood models, so no Synaptic Backlash. Remember, if you kill a Tyrannid Synapse creature, you're going to proc that Synaptic Backlash, which will do 10% of all nearby non-Synapse creatures' max HP. That is per model. So every single Termagant model will lose 10% of their max HP, just like that. And interestingly, that also does affect things like Tyrant Guards and Carnifex. So it only won't affect things that themselves emit a basic Synapse. So if you can manage to snipe the Warrior Brood models, yeah, it can help swing an engagement completely in your favour, but that's why the Adrenal Glands are such a good upgrade at the moment. Ooh, where'd they gone? They must be in the tunnel. They're going to get out just in time. How much HP has the tunnel got? Oh, we didn't even manage to kill it. That's pretty unfortunate. What else are we seeing on the Ravener right now? Toxin Miasma? Sorry, Toxic Miasma. Toxin Miasma is the weapon on the Lictor Alpha. Very similarly named, it's hard to not mistake them. And the Hardened Carapace, which allows the Ravener Alpha to burrow. Not really sure about that one. I think the... I can never remember the damn names of these Tyrannid War Gears, they're all so similar. But the second one that makes you immune to knockback and slow enemies nearby when they melee you, I think that's probably better. If you're going to go for a melee build, generally immunity to knockback is really powerful, because obviously it counters enemy special attacks from being so pivotal. Also, it's going to be useful to have melee knockback immunity if the Force Commander goes for the Thunderhammer, which he is, because that's, you know, really good AoE damage, so it's going to be really nice against all the Gaunts and the Tyrannids, and it's also anti-melee, and there's a lot of melee on the field at the moment. So let's have a look at those Warriors again. Adrenal Glands give plus 40% HP on the Warriors, taking them at level 1, remember this is only level 1, 1732 heavy infantry HP. Really, really powerful stuff. So Alotar's actually going for a Venom Brood. That is quite clearly a mistake. He must not realise how far ahead he is in tech. Because, I mean, he could be getting it for the Synapse to buff the Termagants, which, you know, I can understand partially. That's going to help you against the Force Commander, so long as you don't blob up. But I don't think that's worth it in and of itself. The combination of the Force Commander potentially teleporting onto your Termagants, or just going for the Artificer and the Iron Halo, it's going to be too tanky for Termagants alone to actually deal with. Whether or not they even do have the ranged synapse, it's just not going to be enough. I think something like the Tyrant Guard would be a lot more effective. They're also going to be able to help you against the ASM and the tax as well. So we see some upgrades coming out. I mean, I imagine Alotar was expecting some sort of vehicle, but yeah, he just doesn't realise how far ahead he is. Leading loads of Termagants here, really unnecessarily. Yeah, he's not paying attention. When he does look down there, he retreats them both instantly. Now Ricemuncher is not paying attention, needs to get those Tactical Marines out of there. Going to lose 2 models pretty unnecessarily, to be honest. I'm not sure what they were doing. What did he just lose? Oh, he didn't. He got stunned. Okay. Venom Brood needs to get out of there, just going to bleed models. Nice little grenade and retreat there. Even if you don't wipe the models, the thing is, you're lowering their HP. So now they have to make a decision. Are they going to go out into the battlefield, provide their synapse to nearby troops, or are they potentially risk dying and causing that synaptic backlash, or are they going to sit in base for half an hour and heal themselves? Lots of action going on all over the map here, but we're probably in for a long one, as you can see. It's quite clear the Tyranids have that early advantage. They put on a lot of pressure, but as the Space Marines start to stabilise and they start getting level ups on their squads, what are we at? 2, 1, 1, and then they've just got Stern Guards. So we're not seeing any crazy amount of levels yet, but the Space Marine bleed starts to slow down. They can really start to punish their opponents. Melee Ravener putting in a lot of damage there. A lot of work through his high amounts of melee damage. If that was a ranged Ravener Alpha, wouldn't have been such a threat to the Stern Guard. They could have probably stayed in and bled another 2 or 3 Gaunt models, but with the acid splatter, it's not even acid splatter, it's toxic miasma. I was seeing this acidy goo stuff causing splash damage around him, and I'm assuming that's the acid splatter, but it's not. It is the toxic miasma. It really forces the Tactical Marines to just get out of there as soon as possible. But Alotar's just gone straight for tier 3, which, honestly, probably a decent idea on this map. You know it's going to be dragged on. He's had this VP for so much of the game, but it's just... that alone is a challenging enough feat, never mind when you also have to try and go for the triple cap. It's not easy. Thunderhammer Force Commander with the Teleporter is being an absolute nuisance. You can snare him with your Crippling Poison, but that doesn't prevent him teleporting right on top of you. Absolute pain he is. Okay, so I had a bit of an interlude there because my dog was howling quite incessantly, so I had to check him out. I think he was just a little bit lonely. But he's alright now, so let's continue. Shit, I showed that. Oh well, you can see nothing. I'm not resetting this again. Wait, am I in slow-mo? Am I in slow-mo? What is going on right now? Okay, no, I'm not. I'm just going crazy. Space Marines are just that slow. I feel like I'm in slow-mo. No, what the fuck? Man, Space Marines are really slow. I think maybe because of the Crippling Talon? I'm not sure. Anyway, where were we? So, oh yeah, Alotar has just decided to go tech free. Which... I still feel like I'm in slow-mo half the time. This is really strange. Really strange. Yeah, tier 3. I think obviously that's normally really risky, but the whole gimmick with this map is that your power farm is pretty damn safe, and that your natural VP is super safe. As well as, whenever the enemy tries to gem bash you, they have to be careful not to retreat down this way, through a bunch of melee, and get wrecked coming out of your base. Therefore, it's easier on this map to do a tier 3 fast tech than it is pretty much any map. Also, because the natural VPs are so safe, games tend to drag on really long. So Alotar has been dominating the early stages of this game, yet in spite of that, there are still 227 VPs left for Ricemuncher. So this means the viability of going for a faster tier 3 and getting out large tier 3 armies is a lot higher on this map than it is in most conventional maps. So this is probably going to be a really long game, and we've already got a Carnifex on the field, but Ricemuncher is going tier 3. Now the other thing about this map is it's not really very good for transports and tanks because it's not very open, so there's lots of line of sight blockers that units can hide around. Tanks and transports obviously rely on guns to kill stuff, not melee, so line of sight effectively counters them, but also all these little pieces of rubble and random crap around the places having to turn through these things repeatedly, it makes the pathing for transports and tanks not very good. So they can often get stuck, and it's quite easy to just wipe them out. So Carnifex does its job for the most part, forces off most things, but probably a little bit overextended there. Should have focused more on the Force Commander. He's like the biggest threat. Or maybe the Tactical Marines, just because they'll be fast to force off. It's kind of just derping around now, walking around, not doing a whole lot for its cost. I mean, remember, with the Formback upgrade, the Carnifex essentially has the cost of a super unit. 2 melee hits on retreat, not actually killing that front Tactical Marine model. That's insane. What the hell? Force Commander's playing a risky game, going for this cap. Looks like he'll just about survive. Ooh. Yeah, just about. One more swing from the Revenant Alpha probably would have killed him there. Maybe if he had the speed boosting war gear instead of the toxic miasma. So yeah, he's going for the Predator because Predators counter melee vehicles like the Carnifex. But the problem is this map is kind of not great for tanks, so we'll see how it goes. He's already got the Formback upgrade, so that's going to obviously give the tank a lot more of a chance compared to if he had the Venom Cannon. The Venom Cannon Carnifex essentially is the anti-tank variant, can deal with tanks very, very easily. Not so good at killing the tanks because the Carnifex is still a lot slower than a tank, and it also doesn't have fire on the move, but it outranges the tank, does way more damage, has way more HP, and it has the Bioplasma ability to try and actually kill the tank while it's driving away. So it can screen out a tank from any one location and make the tank irrelevant, which if you park it around here, Carnifex that is, it's going to be very, very effective at deterring the tank from contributing to any main engagements. But he's not got a lot of power, does Alotar. He had that Gem Bash occur against him earlier on, and this means he's not going to be able to get out of Venom Cannon Carnifex anytime soon, because he chose to go for the Formback on the one Carnifex that he can afford. Now he does have a Venom Brood, which are okay, obviously they're really high damage anti-vehicle, but the problem again is, well, they're really slow, they're just walker units, so they're not very fast compared to a tank. So if the tank just sits there and tries to do a shootout with a Venom Brood, yeah, it might lose. But if Ricemuncher's smart, he won't play that game. He'll keep moving. This is where the map could come in, though, because it's not a good map to try and keep your tank mobile. You can easily get stuck on things. That's where the Venom Brood can pincer it. Oh, this Battlecry Force Commander is going to be an absolute pain in the ass. And now he's right in the middle of everything. Warrior model pops that causes backlash on all the Gaunts. Predator's a little bit isolated though. The Venom Brood aren't tied up at present. Ricemuncher's really failing here by not tying up the Venom Brood. They've inflicted most of the damage on this Predator, but it is getting away. Obviously the Predator, once it starts moving, it starts to accelerate and gains a lot of speed. Only the Carnifex has any hope of killing it now, but the Predator is far too fast. Finally the ASM do manage to jump on the Venom Brood and they'll make short work of it. In fact, these... okay, they're not Vanguard, they're just ASM. I saw a Power Sword, but that's obviously just the Sergeant. Bit of a mistake not to tie up the Stern Guard a lot earlier as well. No anti-vehicle coming out of the base, so the Predator's going to make a nice little push down the bottom. Actually doing good damage to the base turrets here. Weakening the base turrets significantly. Ooh, the Venom Brood are actually quite close. Oh my god, they got it! They sniped it. Wow. Oh, they got down there pretty fast. Good on them, only 2 models, but that's all that was needed. So, where are the Stern Guard gone? They got forced off by the Revenant Alpha. Force Commander's just making an absolute nuisance for himself, still not being forced off. Gonna get another Warrior model. More backlash on the Hormagaunts. Doesn't kill any. Gets another Hormigaunt model before he retreats. Level 4, nearly level 5 for the Force Commander. ASM are kind of just been chilling there. I think getting some Vanguard maybe would be decent. Yes, you lose your potential Melter Bomb, but he's not even bought the Melter Bomb anyway. And as I say, this map tends to create long games, so imagine getting level 4 Vanguard. That'd be awesome. You actually have the potential for it on this map. Not something that you typically see actually in level 4 Vanguard, just because, you know, Vanguard are coming out so damn late in the game that normally the game's over by that point. Now, because these are level 3 ASM, they do proc a lot of specials against Hormigauts. Oh god, that charge did so much damage. Jesus, wow, wipes out the ASM. My god. That's one way to deal with level 3 ASM. To be honest, I'm not really sure what Ricemuncher was doing there. He had them so far away from the rest of the army, and obviously they weren't going to put in much work solo, especially when they weren't even full HP. So that was a really major error on Rice's behalf. This Thunderhammer Force Commander is just a nuisance though. There's not really too much he can do. He could probably do with swapping out the hardened carapace at this point and swapping to the war gear that gives him knockback immunity and slows down any enemy infantry that melee him. That would be amazing against this Thunderhammer Force Commander, especially since he has the Crippling Talon. Just send your Ravener Alpha straight into the Force Commander every time he teleports in. His Battle Cry will proc the ability from the Force Commander, because obviously it's AoE, so even if he's not targeting the Ravener Alpha, he's going to be inflicting melee damage on him. It's going to slow him down. Then the Crippling Talon will also slow him down and reduce his damage. And yeah, then you've got a double slow on him, which is guaranteed because you're not back immune on the Ravener Alpha. So that's definitely something I do. Combine it with a Crippling Poison. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Maybe get a Tyrant Guard as well. That would count the Force Commander, but I guess right now the Force Commander isn't that big of a concern. Other things are coming out that are more scary. The prospect of Terminators is a problem. Ranged Terminators in this map can be a cunt to deal with because the distance from this VP to your base is really short. So if they just keep staying here, they can protect their VP, push out, cap this, boot back, pull. Wow, what am I saying? Push out, cap this, pull back. Moving the Terminators all the way up here is a bit risky without a Librarian to support them with the Gate of Infinity. Obviously Terminators can't retreat, so that you don't want to overextend them too much, especially against Tyranids who have a lot of melee. That's why you're going for the ranged Terminators and not the melee ones. Ranged Terminators can contribute quite well in combat without actually needing to heavily commit. What's this? Is this another without number? I really don't like that. It is. That's really bad. What's that going to do? Level 1 Gauns. I mean, Ricemuncher really should be retreating them, but that's just fed these guys so much XP for no reason. Why would you do that? And it hasn't stopped the cap. Not really sure about that play from Alotar. Anyway, the Land Raider Redeemer's out now, and that's going to punish them. Oh, I love it. I love it. Love seeing Land Raiders toasting Tyranids. I don't know what Alotar's lolling at. He hasn't replaced any of the gens on his farm, and he didn't gen bash Ricemuncher. I think he's playing pretty poorly, to be honest. He had a massive lead, but he's kind of throwing it away at this point. He needs to get more generators up, and he needs to get a Swarm Lord out or another Carnifex. Venom Cannon Carnifex would be really nice. He did get the Lictor out, obviously that's a lot cheaper on power. And to be honest, that might be all he needs if he focuses on the VP. Lictor, remember, can capture 50% quicker, just like Tactical Marines. Honestly, there's just not enough AV on the field for Ricemuncher at this point. And the Carnifex is kind of soloing the Land Raider. Not ideal. It's literally soloed the Land Raider. If all he needed was... Okay, Assault Terminator's coming in. I was going to say, all he needed was like a last step at the back, and this Carnifex wouldn't have done anything. But that's not the case. Now the Force Commander's been a bit of a nuisance. He's up on the top, but nothing can solo him. So he's pretty much guaranteed to get that cap. Or at least the decap. But the Land Raider needs a lot of repairs. Now these Assault Terminators could easily push up and take this VP, and then... I was going to say they can retreat back to the Land Raider. They can't. The Terminators, they can't retreat. The Force Commander could, though. The Force Commander could be a pain here, actually. This is a really good map for a Land Raider. This map traditionally is considered very good for Space Marines. This is why. Oh, that's a really brave jump. I guess it's fine. Most of the really scary things like the Lictor, the Ravner Alpha, and the Vex are chasing the Thunderhammer Force Commander. Questionable use of the Orbital Bombardment here, but it does split up Alotar's forces. These Terminators should be able to take on these warriors fairly easily. They're trying to move back to the safety of the Land Raider Redeemer. The Flamers and the Land Raider Redeemer do not hurt friendly infantry, and obviously they do insanely high AoE damage. Frag Assault also not knocking over the Terminators. Does hurt the Terminators, but they're only 3 models, so they don't care too much. That's really good value considering how many models he hit from the Tyranids. You do get a HP regen aura when you're near the Land Raider, so that's going to make the Terminators even stronger. He needs to focus on not trying to kill the Terminators, but getting rid of the Land Raider. He's lost so much here in this engagement. This is clearly where some sort of turnaround happens, because Alotar has really put himself in an awkward position here. If Carnifex goes down, I see him losing this game. He's just going to be so far behind. In fact, that could be the end of the Venom Brood. What are the Tax doing? They need to shoot the Venom Brood. Oh, really big misplay on Ricemuncher's behalf there. Obviously a Tyranna formation. That's going to disrupt the Terminators from capping, but I don't think it's going to kill anything. What are the Tax doing? Walking right back into it. As is the Land Raider, but it's a Tyranna formation, so nothing really gives a shit. Yeah, the Carnifex is going to die. But on the plus side, Alotar has managed to get some of these ceaseless gaunts that he has around the back. So that's something. What on earth is going on here? Just melee the Carnifex. What is he doing? He's incurring so much HP loss. Just melee the Carnifex, right? So what the hell? Get rid of him. Okay, well anyway, it's gone. He's just got such an elite force at this point. The 4 attacks, the 4 scouts, basically unkillable Force Commander. Which honestly, I feel like the Force Commander could just go with the Iron Halo at this point. Look at the amount of energy he has, he'd be really, really unkillable. He needs to get some repairs in the Land Raider though. There are... Wait, is that... Yeah, no, that's just the same Venom Brood, so... Not too big of a threat, I guess. The fallback Carnifex actually did really well, but I think that was mostly down to misplays. Ooh, nice use of Catalyst here. Really like that. Really, really like that. That's probably going to get the wipe on them. Oh, come on. Oh, that's unfortunate. A bit of pathing fuck-ups here from the Hormagaunts on the side. Should have really seen... Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god, I've been disrupted twice recording this goddamn thing. Fuck my life. Okay, so third time lucky then, I suppose. So this is a little bit behind where we just were. The Hormagaunts tried to do their thing. Alotar made a really nice play with Catalyst, but like, how did that not kill? What the fuck are they playing at? None of them decided to leave. So the Tax survived. Bit of oversight from Rice. Should have spun that fat boy around and got the frag barrage a lot sooner. That's where rotation rate on vehicles actually is impactful. The Land Raider had a higher rotation rate, that could have been a wipe on both of them. Oh dear. The combination of the Crippling Talon and the Crippling Poison means those scouts were a whole lot of crippled. And then a whole lot of dead. So, another Carnifex coming out. Not sure why exactly the Venom Brood are just trying to solo a Land Raider. Especially when he knows that Assault Terminators are nearby. Not exactly the smartest thing you can do, but then again Tyranids. Not known for their ceaseless intelligence. And knowing that the Carnifex is dead, Rice opts to go for the Lightning Claw Terminators. Which obviously are going to absolutely destroy every infantry unit in seconds. And they're now onto the Venom Brood, which is not great. Bit, I don't even know how to describe that, at least the frag barrage. Force Commander's doing his thing, stopping the Horn from capping with the Thunderhammer, must be very obnoxious. It'll be interesting to see what kind of Carnifex we're going for. Unfortunately, Alotar hasn't replaced his gen still, which is definitely a massive oversight, and that means he's not really going to be able to afford an upgrade. How much power has he got? 36? I think the Venom Cannon's only like 35, so he could have potentially afforded that, but right now, probably wants to form back, because that will... I mean, you've seen how much work that did against the Land Raider anyway. It also is going to be really nice against the Terminators, now that they've decided to get rid of their Thunderhammers. So it looks like the Land Raider's going to die, but... think it's terrible position. Just what that frag assault was. So is this it? Does Ricemuncher lose now? It looks like he will, because he hasn't really got any sort of requisition. Which is kind of surprising in all honesty. His income, 259. Because he has decent amounts of map control, you know, he's got 3 fully matured rec points. You'd think that would be okay. Yeah, but Alotar's splitting up now, doing what he needs to do to really put the VP pressure on, going for Rice's natural. Rice doesn't really have the units to deal with it. We're going for that last cannon. Is going to catch the Carnifex, but the turn gets there, should just force melee on the devs. Oh, Venom Brood are going to wipe. He hasn't forced melee, but it doesn't matter. Carnifex has got around here, behind the shot blocker, within good enough time. Force Commander at the top is obviously forced off. Hormagaunts. Looks like Terminators are going to die here. I think they used the teleport to get onto the Venom Brood, so might see another use of Catalyst. And what Devastator's dead from Without Number. I mean, this has been a very thematic showcasing the Tyranids, hasn't it? Because they really have been without number. I think this could have been a lot easier for Alotar though. He should have gone for more generators a lot sooner. That form back upgrade took forever to come out. And I think that some of his without number usages were quite questionable. I think rather than spamming so many gaunts, if he got some Gene Stealers or some Raveners up earlier, that would have been really nice. But yeah, that's probably going to be the end of the game. Were these called in Tactical Marines? No, they're not. The old Plasma Gun ones are swapped. We'll see a nice sync kill. Rice doesn't really have anything at this point. Terminators are back out on the field, but I can't see what he's going to do. He's literally got Terminators and the Force Commander, and I know that they're elite, but look at that though. This kills all 4 Hormagaunts, so it's special. They're elite, but they're not that elite. They're not going to take on this many units, especially when Dawn of War 2 is all about capping those victory points for whatever reason. Go on, Force Commander, solo the army. Nice orbital bombardment coming in. One of them's here. One of them's here. Don't know what that was. Yeah, not the best orbital bombardment. Level 10 Force Commander. Really should have the Iron Halo at this point. He'd be a lot better if he did. Imagine how tanky you'd be with 228 energy. Multiply that by 5. 1,100 extra HP if you had the Iron Halo instead of the teleporter. You're telling me 1,100 extra HP is a bad thing? Come on, that's well worth it. I know Telehammer's like 101 how to Force Commander. But come on. Terminator's on about half HP. Not exactly sure why he's going for wipes at this point. The enemy has about 6 Gaunt Squads and you're on 8 VPs. Come on, Rice! Like, also, yeah, Alotar did not get the anti-knockback thing. Which he should have got absolutely ages ago. Somehow Rice is still in this. I do not know how. I can't see him winning this though. How can he compete on the VPs when he's only got 2 units? Tactical Marines are practically worthless. Hominids are going to beat them 1-on-1 at this point. He needs to... Okay, there's Rippers here. He sent the Rippers to cap. They can't cap, boys. We've not been able to do that for quite a while. Are these meant to be turning into Stone Guard? I'm not sure. Alright, that's it. Yeah, he decapped the natural VP and that's it. I was really waiting to see the Carnifex knock these Terminators over. It's always very satisfying when you see the special from the Carnifex doing that. Not much can knock over Terminators. That big boy can. So there you go. That was the game. I'm not really sure that was worth having to reset 3 times. Thanks Steam, thanks Relic. So to get 28 minutes back into a replay, I have to spend 7 minutes fast forwarding it on the fastest setting. Brilliant. Excellent stuff. But yeah, it was learning regardless, so what do we learn? Well, we already knew this map, really good for Space Marines, not so great for Tyranids, so even though Alotar had such a gigantic lead early on, Ricemuncher was nearly able to pull it back, and honestly I think he totally could have done. I think this game was definitely winnable. Alotar made it a lot more winnable. The key things that I would have changed if I was Alotar, I wouldn't have used Without Number so often. I think one use of it would have been nice, but I think he used it 2 or 3 times. Fed a lot of XP to Rice, who then overextended and lost his units. Like, the ASM loss from Rice was really sloppy, really unnecessary. He could have got Vanguard and they would have put in a lot of work. Vanguard can obviously solo 2 squads of Hormigons, never mind 1 squad of Hormigons, using that Merciless Strike. But yeah, he could have made it a bit better by replacing his gens, getting out more Carnifexes, or even a Swarmlord. We've seen how well the Formback Carnifex did, so imagine the Swarmlord and the Formback Carnifex. Swarmlord buffing the speed of the Formback Carnifex and just being really tanky in comparison. That would have been very good. And getting the second armor, unfortunately I forgot its bloody name. I don't know, but it gives you knockback immunity, which counters the Thunder Hammer really well, and it slows down any enemies that melee the Ravener Alpha. So that would have been the best counter to this guy. I think Rice really should have got the Iron Halo. It made him so much tanky in the late game. The teleporter combined with the Thunder Hammer is amazing when gaunts are your big problem, because you just activate Battle Cry, teleport on them, boom, boom. Free specials, they all have to retreat. But you get to a certain stage in the game where that's just not a problem anymore, and you just need to survive, you need to cap, you need to stop caps, and the Iron Halo is better there because it just makes him so much more tankier. 1,100 extra HP he'd have had if he had the Iron Halo. Something to consider. I think that pretty much covers it all. Sloppy use of the Land Raider Redeemer. Assault Terminators did well, Thunderhammer did amazing. Definitely could have been 1. Please replace your generators. Space Marines are actually decent on this map, makes a change, nice to see. Unfortunately, didn't win in this instance. A lot of dead bodies. Hell of a lot of dead bodies. I'm actually going to check the unit score here. Check that unit score. And I'm not going to edit it out because you know I don't really do that. I'm too much of a lazy bum. But yeah, I think that was pretty cool. I think good showcasing of the matchup. Ooh, Crewfinity's on that. Oh my fucking Christ. Well, there you go. 266 units killed, 273 units lost. I mean, with all those gaunts and all those rippers, it's hardly surprising. But look at that, 117 units reinforced. Half of those gaunts he didn't even bother reinforcing, and obviously the rippers you don't generally reinforce either. So that's crazy. 15 power built for Alotar. Crazy game, crazy game. Only level 4 on the Ravener Alpha and lost him twice. That set him back quite a lot as well. Alright, cool. That's the cast. That was a pain in the arse. Hope it was worth it. Thank you very much, guys. 32 minutes, there you go. Isn't that glorious? Probably took me an hour to record it. Thank you very much for watching. That'll be all from me today. Torpid out.